It's brought to you by Blue Dog RV, a camp.
Into turn number 3, it skips sideways. The boat did not roll over.
Griggs Ace Hardware, All City Transmission, Westside Auto Licensing, and Tire Factory are all proud sponsors of your award-winning Columbia Cup broadcast.
Here comes Tate, trying to catch him into turn number 1.
On News Radio 610 KONA.
Here's your latest News Radio 610 KONA Sports. For more details, head to our website, 610KONA.com.
The Dust Devils struggling as of recent. They fell to Spokane 7-1 at Avista Stadium yesterday. Dust Devils have now lost 3 in a row and 6 of their last 8. They're 18-22 on the year. The Dust Devils get ready to wrap up this 3-game stand with Spokane tonight. They'll try to avoid the sweep. Then from there, they travel down to Boise for a 5-game series that gets underway on Friday. Gene Segura singled in the go-ahead run in the 8th inning as the Mariners moved past the Giants yesterday 3-2 at Safeco Field in Seattle. Manager Scott Service said the offense did just enough to eke out a win.
And our offense, we scratched and clawed and tried to figure out a way to get a few points up there, but not easy. You know, when you're struggling offensively, you have to find a way, and that's what we did today.
The Mariners travel to Anaheim to start a 3-game stand with the Angels tomorrow. Wade LeBlanc set to get the start for Seattle. Mariners, by the way, 2 games in front of the Athletics for that final AL wildcard spot. Mariners CEO Kevin Mather has apologized for his behavior at the workplace. Mather has been accused of workplace misconduct on 2 separate occasions with female employees in the past. Seattle CEO said he's made amends with those victims and now claims to be a better co-worker and be a better leader after learning from his mistakes. The Seattle Seahawks out on the practice field today, starting training camp over in Renton. The Hawks have 13 practices between now and August 16th. Pro Bowl safety Earl Thomas is expected to hold out of training camp in hopes of inking a longer deal with Seattle. Speaking of your Seahawks, they get ready for their first preseason game of the year. That is on the 9th of August against the Indianapolis Colts. The game we'll have for you right here on News Radio 610 KONA, the Tri-Cities home of Seahawks football. Pac-12 Media Day opened up yesterday down in Hollywood. Congratulations to the Washington Huskies. They were selected as the preseason favorite to win the Pac-12 conference. As far as your Washington State University Cougs, they were selected 5th in the Pac-12 North. Glenn Vaughan, News Radio 610 KONA Sports.
Welcome to live coverage of the 2018 Columbia Cup on News Radio 610 KONA. Presented by Farmers Exchange in Kennewick and brought to you by Tire Factory, IBEW Local 112, Lynx Healthcare, Barry Long at Everstar Realty, Bunch Fitting and Appliance, Local 598 Plumbers and Steam Fitters, All City Transmission, Westside Auto Licensing, Perfection Miller Paint, U-Pollard Auto Parts, Griggs Ace Hardware, A1 Refrigeration and Heating, Buffalo Brothers, Solgen Power, Physicians Immediate Care, Anderson Dental, Esco Electric, West Coast Auto Dealers, and Tri-Cities Phone and PC Repair. Now to the Columbia River with Mike McDonald.
And welcome back, race fans. Out on the course for the first time on the clock is the 3, the piston-powered Cooper Boat and Jimmy King across the start-finish line. And we understand that the reason why the 3, Brad Luce, our A1 Refrigeration Heating pit reporter, was not out in the earlier session was they had a problem with the propeller shaft. And by the looks of it, this is not exactly what you would call a fast run for Jimmy King.
No, I saw him come off the lower corner down here and a couple of pops and bangs, and he slowed it way down. Did he cut the course, or did he go all the way up to the west end?
No, he went across, he actually went around the entire length of the course, but he is definitely backing off the throttle and heading back to the Neil F. Lamson pits. But what did you hear about, and I understand they had to make a parts run.
Yeah, I talked to one of their crew members, and he said, "No, we're okay." He said, "We just got to make a little parts run." So this particular individual was going to go do that. But I'm not sure how well that worked out. He's just now coming back to the dock, and I think our Glenn Vaughan is up there when we split at the tower, I said, I'll go down to the big dock. Why don't you go talk to the 3 when they get back? So, Glenn, if you're up there when Jimmy gets off and debriefs, maybe we can find out exactly what...
Yeah, I'm down here. He's just pulling into the docks right now.
Perfect.
We'll talk to Jimmy when he gets out.
And our tech updates brought to you by All City Transmission. So Jimmy King with a slow trip around.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Seattle Rate 206. We are back with some more hydro sim runs. Tri-Cities, Washington, Columbia River. We ran a 158.423, 158.423 with the U3 Briggs Ace hardware. I know we can run a little bit better than that, a lot better than that, so we're gonna run the boat again. I forgot something to do in the settings, so we're gonna run this boat again. Once again, we ran a 158.423, 158.423 miles per hour, and we're looking to clear that up and make it a little bit better. So hold tight. Let's get it right. Appreciate you guys for coming through. 163.776. 163.776 miles per hour for the U3 Griggs Ace Hardware.
Hey, good morning. Sorry, Tony Ott has swung by to say hello, and he's giving me a bad time. So
Tony!
Yeah, so, Tony.
Dawson will be back in the studios with the Hydro Wrap-Up Show, thanks to IBEW Local 112.
How to aim better in World of Warships? A couple of practical hints. First,
so bright red out on the course, and this would be the 12 Graham Trucking, and let's check back down at the A1 Refrigeration Heating Pit Tower and Brad Luce as we still wait on Jimmy King and details on the 3 and what may be wrong with the piston-powered boat. Brad? And we'll catch up with Brad in a moment. To cross the start-finish line, it is Graham Trucking. And the 12. Yep, go ahead.
To interrupt you, so I'm going to interrupt you here. We've got Jimmy King. Jimmy, we're all excited to see the 3 out there, but you're running a little slow. What was going on?
You know, we're fine. We're only squirting it for one and a half lap. We're sorting a few things out. Doesn't count the Sunday afternoon. It's going out. The motors will run piece. We're still up working on the same motor. So we'll get it sorted out as long as they're Sunday. That's all we care about.
I understand you guys were having a problem with the prop a little earlier. Is that not an issue anymore?
It isn't a prop. It's a bearing seal. Not actually a bearing seal, but a bearing at the thrust bearing. So we'll see what happens.
All right, Jimmy, thanks for the time.
As Jimmy King in our all-city transmission tech update, still working on some propeller shaft and bearing issue. Across the start-finish line, we'll see if we can get the defending champion, J. Michael Kelly, in the Graham Trucking the 12 across the start-finish line. Hopefully get a speed for you here as he comes down the front stretch and heading to turn number 1, West Coast Auto Dealers.
And here he comes, JMK, our defending HEFO Columbia Cup champion. He's hard into the corner here. Turned a 156, if memory serves me right, this morning. And if memory serves me right as well, they qualified, I think, last year, I want to say, at 154. So they were really pleased with that 156. They've got a lot of different combinations they want to throw at him. I'm sure this is a different one. They're looking for better than 156 for sure.
Well, we're understanding that everybody's goal right now is to get the 163.579 bested from Dave Billwalk back in 2010 in the 96 Spirit of Guitar.
I'm up for that. Let's watch it.
Okay.
You know Andrew Tate wants to get out there because as we heard from him when we spoke to him after his 160, he's looking for any points he can get for that national high points, and there's 100 of them laying here.
This is a solid lap, Brad, coming down across the Griggs Ace Hardware start-finish line for J. Michael Kelly in the 12 Graham Trucking.
Yeah, here he comes again. Great boat ride, great water conditions. Entrance pin, Apex, and Kevin just that fast.
Oh, he is flying and keeping it right on the buoy as well. Barely just a foot or two away from the big yellow corner down here and flying down the backstretch. Boy, he looks smooth and sharp. Maybe a little bounce here or there, but boy, that 12 looks absolutely strong.
Yeah, we're hearing a 151 and change on that last lap.
All right.
Up to the top end of the course, the U-Pullett Auto Parts turn number 3, and the wall of water off the skid fin. Really can't see much of Rattlesnake Mountain. It's a little bit hazy, a little bit smoky here at the Columbia Basin. The top end of the course off of the Buffalo Brothers turn number 4, right by the exit pit. It's the 12 Graham Trucking with J. Michael Kelly across the start-finish line, trapping some air under the boat, bouncing it back and forth on the sponsons, and backing off the throttle and heading back to the Neil F. Lamson pits coming down that front stretch along the Kennewick shoreline. Glad you're on board. Thanks to Farmers Exchange. Ready, set, mow savings now on your new Husqvarna riding or walk-behind mower, plus 10% off accessories through July. That's Farmers Exchange.
Well, Michael, as far as the chase for 163, the U-12 didn't come that close. 150 was the time on lap 1, lap 2, 151, lap 3, 152. So a mile an hour faster each lap, but still quite a bit away from that benchmark set by Dave Billwalk.
All right, and consistency, though, Brad, that's one of the things the teams are looking for. Maybe it's just a different setup after turning a 156.2 earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it is. And just because the lap speeds, if we're assuming that he was trying to run hard and that was the best he could get out of that combination, it still is a very beneficial run. You always learn things, and they learned that that combination, not necessarily as fast as the one they had. Throwing at them a little bit later. It's real busy down here on the dock. We've got 4 boats in the water here, counting JMK, who's coming back. Right behind me here is Brian Perkins in the Darrell Strong, presents the Payne West Insurance. That's what you hear in the background. It is the U-21, and young Mr. Perkins is away from the dock.
Now, Brian, earlier in the 21, out on the course, 152.9 in the 21 Payne West Insurance. Special thanks on our broadcast. We will have some 5-liter racing coming up this afternoon about 3:45. Thanks to Barry Long at Everstar Realty. Looking to sell your home? Have a conversation with a pro real estate broker over 12 years experience. It's Barry Long at Everstar, 509-308-1141.
A couple of boats have decided to pass on this round, Mike. The U-1918, the Oberto, driven by Cal Phipps.
And earlier, posting a 158.876.
Yep, and the U-99.9, the Carstar Miss Rock, driven by Aaron Salmon, has also decided to pass on this round.
But we haven't seen Salmon in the river.
No, we haven't seen Salmon in the river. And the other little, if you will, everybody is pretty much up on the deck of that boat, working pretty hard up there. So, no, we're not going to see them. I was looking for Mr. Salmon. I didn't see him to try and get an update, but everybody else is kind of buried on the boat. So we'll let them keep working. Mr. Salmon got himself qualified as an H1 Unlimited driver in Madison a few weeks ago. He had hoped to do that in Guntersville, but just simply because we didn't have enough time on the water, given the poor weather conditions on Friday and Saturday there, he didn't get all of his necessary laps in. He needed 6 more, went to Madison, got those 6, got qualified, and actually scored a 3rd place finish. You've got to like it when you're in a 3-boat heat, in your first ever heat in Unlimited Racing, and you draw Tate and Shane.
Ooh.
And you have to start behind everybody. But here's Perkins through the lower corners at the apex, right in front of Kevin on a hot lap.
Absolutely. He looks pretty smooth down here as well. Not a lot of bouncing on the sponsons, just straight through the corner. Maybe not quite as fast as the 12 was, but he is so smooth right now getting up the backstretch.
Looks like a solid ride again. Earlier, the 21 posting a 152.9. Coming up this afternoon, we have Grand Prix back on the water for inboard testing at 3:15, and we'll actually get some 5-liter racing at 3:45, and a dash for cash for the Grand Prix coming up at 4:30 this afternoon. Our coverage brought to you by Local 598 Plumbers and Steam Fitters, Signatory Contractors, community-minded, community involved. Special viewing area for Gold Star families is here at the Columbia Cup. Health and safety sponsor, it's Lynx Healthcare, L-Y-N-X, Lynx Healthcare. Innovative, affordable, and customer service oriented. Lynx.healthcare.com. Waiting to get a time on Perkins on his hot lap out there, and this is our 2nd qualifying session for the H1 Unlimited. Really got bogged down in front of Kevin at Tire Factory turn number 2.
Yeah, he did. He was a little slow getting out here, which is, pretty usual for a lot of these boats out here at this particular turn. That seemed to catch a little bit the 21, maybe more than the other boats have been caught, but it could have just been that one time. We'll see if what his time turns out to be once he gets back around.
A big thank you to Freedom Equipment Rentals on North Oregon Avenue in Pasco for supplying our lifts for this weekend. Good folks to work with. Want to remind you, if you want to follow everything about H1, there's a real easy way to do it on your smartphone, whether it's Android or Apple. It's the H1 app. Download it and find out exactly what's happening real time. Across the start-finish line, still waiting for some speeds from upstairs.
Well, here comes Mr. Perkins. Last time he came down here at the entrance pin, he kind of was walking the spots and said, a little extra air under it. He's got the boat set down better this time through the first part of the corner. Now he's in front of Kevin. You were talking about being a little slow coming off of that corner. That probably is the slowest part on the race course. It would be the same coming off the Buffalo Brothers turn 4, except this one might be a little slower just because of the current. But when you come off the corner at the exit buoy, that is your slowest spot right there because it's all acceleration from there down to the other end of the straightaway.
Oh, and you can see it too because you hear the engines as they get around the turn. And then didn't they see the long straight line, as it were, and then they get to get into the gas.
Great turn on Buffalo Brothers turn number 4 for Brian Perkins in the 21.
We do have a time on that first lap, Michael.
Yep.
U21, 152 on lap 1. Lap 2, 152 as well. 152.1 was lap 2, so slightly faster than lap 1.
So lap number 3, and I think that may have been his best lap. And usually we see a little bit of an increase on each lap.
Yeah, and you talk
153.599.
Good. Good. 153. There's some clapping going on down here. You might have heard it in the background. That's good. Anytime you improve and step it up, that's the name of the game. This young kid can really handle a race boat. He has been driving boats for years, all different classes. The family has been so involved in the sport from the administration side of the sport. And when Brian and his sister were just young kids running around being pit rats, and then they grew up and suddenly found themselves racing against their idols. And this kid really knows his way around. He's a good one. I promised him that I'd try and grab him when he gets back to the dock this time. Meanwhile, Dustin Eccles away in the bright orange 4th.
And last time we saw Dustin out, 139.556 best lap, but came out early after just one hot lap and went back to the pits immediately.
as like a TV ad.
Pardon me, say it again.
A 152.3.
Okay, so he'll be looking to improve on that. I had some conversations here earlier this morning with some other people, and they were pointing at that boat saying, at one point in time, these guys are going to step up and win a race. They get better and better. They made some great strides last year, and in fact went into the final heat, potentially one of the favorites. They had 3 first-place finishes here, or excuse me, 3 second-place finishes going into the final. If the boat's ready to go, trust me, Tom Thompson, he will get the most out of it if he's got a good line and some clean water. Unfortunately, he didn't finish the final heat a year ago. They'd like to improve on that, and he's up toward the west end. Sounds good from here. Looks good, Michael. You got him.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. You know, the one thing that you can say, though, it's Tom Thompson, it's J. Michael Kelly. They can put themselves in position like J. Michael did last year. If Shane and Tate are monkeying around during the milling period, they could get out of shape and not hit the start-finish line at full speed. And you have somebody like Thompson in the 11 or J. Michael Kelly in the 12 taking the checkered flag in the final heat. Down the front stretch, it's the U11 Reliable Diamond Tools J&D's Tom Thompson into West Coast Auto Dealers turn number 1.
Getting a little out of the water here, getting out of turn 2, but boy, he looks real fast right now as he gets into the backstretch.
And earlier, as you mentioned, a 152.3 for Tom Thompson in the 11 up the backstretch.
And we are going to clarify the name on that boat as the Reliable Diamond Tool, singular, presents Miss J&D's. I just got the word from the owner, so we'll do our best to get it right.
So they only have one?
That's what I just said. They only have one tool, and apparently made out of, it's very reliable.
Well, it's made out of diamonds.
It's made out of diamonds, yeah. No, it's multiple tools, of course. Now I'm being told that. But, yeah, you said the same thing I did to Shannon when she mentioned it to me.
Across the start-finish line, the 11 with Tom Thompson.
Hey, Michael.
Yep, go ahead.
Hey, we're going to come down here to the pits. We're talking with Dustin Eccles. Dustin, how'd you feel out on that run?
Well, we're working through some bugs here. We got a few gremlins with some temperatures that just the boat's not happy with. So we're trying to make some small changes and go out there and run it and see what, if the temperature gets better. And right now it's not, but we'll get it figured out. We're not worried.
What kind of problem shooting do you have to do to figure out temperature? I think, my car's overheating. I take it to the mechanics, probably a transmission issue, but probably not as simple with your boat.
It's really not. There's a whole lot of different variables that go into it. For this big course, we're running a great big setup. We have big propeller, big gears, and it's really hard on everything when it's running the big stuff. So everything's working harder to make the boat go faster. And right now, the gearboxes are not the problem, but they're what's showing the heat. So we need to find out why, what's going on there. These guys are the smartest ones on the beach, so they'll get it figured out.
All right, Dustin, best of luck with the problem shooting.
Thank you, appreciate it.
So, Dustin's a pretty good mechanic himself.
He sure is.
Yes, Rob?
So Tom Thompson in U11, his first lap, 152.3.
Correct.
Well, that's the same thing he turned earlier. Wow, look at that turn on the bottom end of the course.
He's leaning real hard on that right sponson right now. That left is wanting to come off the water a little bit. That means he's getting after it real hard here down at the bottom of the course. As he heads down the backstretch into turn number 3, he is trying to get some speed out of that boat.
153.6 on lap 2.
All right, well, he's trying to better that up the backstretch. We'll get him into the U-Pullet Auto Parts turn number 3. Pasco Shoreline in the background. And hazy Rattlesnake Mountain you can barely make out at the west end of the course, out past Richland. And now to the exit pin of our Buffalo Brothers turn number 4. They are the party people, the best racing fans on the circuit, the Buffalo Brothers. Here to the Griggs Ace Hardware start-finish line now. And we'll get that final lap speed as we hear a little compression stall as Tom Thompson backs off the throttle and heads back towards the Neil F. Lamson pits and our A1 Refrigeration Heating pit reporters, Brad Luce and Glenn Boggin.
152.7 on lap 3.
Yeah, so not as good.
But that second one was a $153, which was an improvement. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And the Reliable Diamond Tool presents Miss J&D's.
And it was 153 and change.
153.6 on lap 2, 152.7 on lap 3.
So that puts him just ahead slightly of Brian Perkins in the 29. and the qualification ladder, at least for now. And remember, there's points up for grabs, Brad.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. You're exactly right. If you are the top qualifier, you pick up 100 points. And if you're the second fastest qualifier, you get 80 points and then 70, 60, 50 on down from there. So when you're in a national high points race like Jimmy Shane and Andrew Tate are, these points are worth fighting for, especially when you consider the margin of victory for Jimmy Shane over Andrew Tate a year ago in the national high points race was about 240 points. So they'll take them all, and they're worth fighting for. And there's a 20-point difference here between first and second. Speaking of those two boats, both of them are in the water here right in front of me. I believe Jimmy Shane will have the opportunity to come out first, but that's not necessarily true. Both are in the water. Both drivers are aboard ship.
We talk points. It's thanks to Perfection Miller Paint. The points leader after 2 races on the H1 Unlimited Series is Andrew Tate in the 9 with 3,200. Jimmy Shane in the 1 with 2,760. And then Tom Thompson with 2,415 points. So every point is just huge.
Yeah, and you heard Andrew refer to it when we were talking after his first run. You're exactly right. I mentioned that the margin of victory over the entire season, the total of points was 240, 250, something like that difference. And in one of the preliminary heats at the last race of the year in San Diego, Andrew cut the course before the race to get himself in start position and went through the DMZ and got a goose egg.
Oh.
And there's some terrific footage, in-cockpit footage of that. And right when he gets the word that he went through the DMZ, you see his right hand come down, just pounding on the steering wheel. He knew that was pretty much the end of his National High Points Championship. And
Hey, Michael.
I'm sorry, it looks like Jimmy will be next out. The lid just went down.
Yeah, Glenn.
All right, we're talking down here with Tom Thompson. Tom, a 153.6 on your second lap, 152.7. How'd you feel out there on the water?
Actually, the last 2 laps, I had a broken pedal, and it jammed the throttle, so I didn't have a wing to put air under the boat. So, unfortunately, we gave up some speed because of that, but I made the best of it and tried to do a little better.
All right, so where do you guys go from here?
Well, fix the pedal and get ready for this Dash for Cash and see what we can do for it.
All right, thanks a lot, Tom.
Tech updates thanks to All City Transmission, Brad.
No, I was just going to say, it's a great job. Good report down there, Glenn. He went down into the masses. In the background, you hear the T55 L7 Lycoming turbine engine of the Home Street Blue. Miss Home Street is away from the dock. Our defending National High Point champion laid down a $162 earlier today, looking for that 163.5.
It was 162.97, so he was knocking on the door.
Wow.
Knocking on the door.
Well, he is away from the dock, headed toward Kevin. We've also got an all eyes of everybody kneeling on the deck of the U9 are watching Jimmy Shane as he pulls out from the pit area here. So a little bit of drama here as we try and figure out who's going to get 100 and who's going to get 80 and 70. And we talked a little bit about the points. Just to reiterate, they do count towards the National High Point Championship. They also count toward making your way into the final here on Sunday afternoon. Those points count.
The other thing everybody's watching is to see if we can eclipse the record set by Dave Bilwalk back in 2010.
Yep.
At 163.579. Traffic watch continues with News Radio 610 KONA. Thanks to Westside Auto Licensing, Blue Bridge traffic is moving. It's cautiously moving over the Blue Bridge. If you are headed southbound, please keep your eyes on the road. Passengers, feel free to take a look, but if you're driving, make sure that you're watching the vehicle in front of you and where you're going. Traffic watch brought to you by Westside Auto Licensing. Burden Boulevard in Pasco has a drive-through window for your convenience, and in the Autoplex in Pasco. Westside Auto Licensing. Across the Griggs Ace Hardware start-finish line on the clock now for the second qualifying run. It's the U1 Miss Home Street Bank and driver Jimmy Shane.
Yeah, and he's just ripping his way down here. He's already at the entrance pin to the apex. Kevin, he's in your lap.
Absolutely, just bouncing along the top of the water just as fast as he can go, and that rooster tail very high in the air. As he exits turn 2, puts down the pedal and hits up the road to turn 3.
You know, that's where you see that speed. He did get a little bit bogged down coming out of Tire Factory turn number 2, but boy, about 100 yards after that exit pin, that speed up the backstretch, absolutely amazing. The U Pullen Auto Parts turn number 3. Look at him go around the top end of the course. That is a huge turn in lane number 1. Great job holding that buoy line with Jimmy Shane in the 1 home straight bank onto the front stretch. We'll get him across the start-finish line and get you speed here momentarily. But that looks like another great hot lap for Shane in the 1 coming down the front stretch into our turn number 1 thanks to Auto Dealers.
159.5, 159.5 on lap 1 for Shaner.
Can he ramp it up and find 4 more miles per hour? Tire Factory turn 2.
Yeah,
Kevin.
a little smoother out of here. Didn't quite have the bounce off the water. See if that means more speed or if it slows him down a little bit. He didn't get quite as bogged down, it didn't seem like, down here. Much smoother, a little bit easier to get back on the pedal. So see what this means in terms of speed.
Tire Factory turn number 2. That's Tire Factory. They have a great crew too on the roadside, out in the field, or in the shop with BF Goodrich, Michelin, Firestone, Goodyear, Bridgestone, and more. PascoTireFactory.com, the website. You know, I don't know that was as good a turn at the top end of the course as lap number 1, but we'll catch him across the start-finish line now. Griggs Ace Hardware start-finish line. Jimmy Shane, defending High Points champion, but he is not the defending champion of the Hapo Columbia Cup. At West Coast Auto Dealers turn number 1.
162.651.
Can he do it?
162.651. He's sniffing it.
I wonder if they're talking to him because he's flying through turn 2, and they're like, "You're so close, man. Just another mile an hour. Just one more. Can you get it?" Because you can only say wins are great, but records they last a little bit longer sometimes.
They do last forever, don't they? And correct me if I'm wrong. In Tire Factory turn number 2, that was a better turn. He maintained speed.
Oh yeah, he was definitely on it a lot better that time around in turn 2 here at Tire Factory turn 2.
Ooh, boy, what a turn! Sliding into Buffalo Brothers turn number 4. Hanging on to lane number 1. Let's see what we get across the start-finish line. And will it be a new record here on the Columbia River course? It's Jimmy Shane in the 1, Miss Home Street Bank. Down the front stretch, backing out the throttle. We'll get that speed in just a sec.
Oh, my goodness. 163.431.
Oh.
You can't get any tighter than that.
No, you didn't get it.
Holy smoke. That's a tick off of the course record.
He didn't get it. 163.579. The Bill Walk record stays alive.
Wow, that's kind of fun.
That is so close. So what does that mean to Andrew Tate? And I know they want to come back out.
Well, they're in the water. I'm standing right behind their boat. They're ready to roll here, just waiting for Jimmy to clear. And the officials will say go. And as we've been talking, not so much for the record. He wants the 100 points. They want to change the number on this boat from 9 to 1. And that's how they're going to do it, by getting more points than Jimmy Shane. And he's got an opportunity right here, right now, but it's a tall order.
Flight SK-84 from New York will be arriving at gate 12.
Gracie?
Yeah.
Took my love.
Hey, Gracie. It's Dad here. It's Christmas, and I thought I'd give you a call. I hate how we let things.
You are making everything about you again!
Gracie, if you walk out of that door, then...
Stop!
Well,
I miss you, Gracie.
Afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you. The time makes you bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older too.
So our Glenn Vaughan is down at that end of the pit area, and I've got a thought here, Glenn, that young Jimmy Shane out of Havre de Grace, Maryland, is going to be pretty happy when he steps out of that one.
So again, close but not quite. 163.431 for Jimmy Shane in the Home Street Bank. Special thanks, Turn 1. Again, we call a four-corner super speedway, so we can dial in the action as it happens out on our 2.5-mile super speedway here in Tri-Cities on the Columbia River. West Coast Auto, the area's most exciting inventory, cars, trucks, SUVs, 3 locations, Pasco Autoplex, Kennewick, 395 in Clearwater, and Moses Lake, and always at WCDealers.com. Looks like we have a quick break in the action, and we will step aside. Also, thanks to our friends at Buffalo Brothers Turn number 4, the party people, the best hydro fans in the H1 circuit, and You Pull It Auto Parts, self-service auto parts in Yakima and Pasco. Choose from over 750 vehicles, both foreign and domestic, at each location. You Pull It Auto Parts. More of our qualifying session number 2, Hapo Columbia Cup. News Radio 610 KONA, 610KONA.com.
Time for news from the countryside with Farmers National Company's Flo Sayer.
So, Flo, what is a land professional and why use one?
Well, a land professional is somebody that's got the extra training, that knows the dirt, because they know their stuff. Your land specialist knows way more than your residential and commercial broker. They know about water rights, soil qualities. They can understand the growing season. They know the economics of the land.
Remember, for homes with charm or land to farm, call Flo at 509-539-3161.
For the folks at Tire Factory, the most important part of your road trip is arriving at your destination and making it back home safely. Tire Factory has some added peace of mind with Michelin tires, roadside assistance, free flat repair from over 1,800 stores nationwide. Why Michelin? Because choosing tires that last longer saves you time and money. Come into Tire Factory today for a free vehicle safety check. Tire Factory on Dupertail, just off Queensgate in Richland, and 2 locations in Pasco. Trust what you love to Tire Factory.
Hey, did you hear? Registration is open now. Tri-Cities Youth Soccer is having open enrollment for the 2018-2019 season. Registration is one low price. It includes 8 weeks of play in the fall and 9 weeks of play in the spring, ending the season with Soccer Palooza, where there are vendors, silent auction, and year-end tournament jamboree. Register by July 31st to avoid late fees and wait lists. Visit the website at t-cysa.org or come by 6160 Burton Boulevard, Pasco, Washington. Open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, 1 to 5 p.m. and Thursday, 3 to 7 p.m.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local Union 112, is actively looking for career-oriented licensed electricians to serve communities in Southeast Washington and Northeast Oregon. Better pay, family medical coverage with a small deductible, and a retirement that is second to none, with contractors currently hiring. IBEW, working to bring the power to you. Make the move for yourself, for your family, for the future. Visit IBEWLU112.com for additional details.
You are listening to the Water Follies thanks to Farmers Exchange on News Radio 610 KONA, Kennewick, Richland, Pasco. Now, back to News Radio.
Oh, my goodness, things heating up outside. Temperature at the Pasco Tri-Cities Airport now at 94 degrees, looking for a high of 101 this afternoon. Our weather update thanks to Lauren Anderson, everybody at Anderson Dental at KennewickSmiles.com, the Tri-Cities Smile experts. Here we go. It's Andrew Tate in the 9, working it back and forth on his sponsons, heading down the front stretch. This is after lap number 1. This will be lap number 2 in his second qualifying session, heading down to West Coast Auto Dealers turn number 1.
157.975, 157.975. Kevin, right in front of him.
Absolutely. He's going real nicely through turn 2 right now. Still losing a little bit of speed there where everybody does, and you're talking just a few miles an hour, but it seems like he still might be just a touch slower than the one when he deals with turn 2.
Hey, Michael.
Yes, Glenn.
As Andrew's heading down to turn number 3, I'm going to take it back down here to the pits. We're talking to Jimmy Shane. Jimmy, first and foremost, how'd the water feel out there?
Water was beautiful. I mean, this is some of the best conditions I've ever raced in Tri-Cities. It's hot, but great water, good show with boats out on the water, and hoping the fans are staying cool down here.
All right, just between you and me, you ran about a 162 on that second lap. Were you trying to go for the record?
We were trying to go for as fast as we could run the boat. We threw a different propeller on there that qualifying run, and we picked up a half a mile an hour average. So it's good. I mean, we have really good equipment in the truck, so that's all we can hope for.
163.43. You got to be walking away pretty happy.
Oh yeah, we're very happy. We're looking forward to getting this boat race ready, and then hopefully getting the new boat out onto the water, get some test time on it, and put on an even better show for the fans.
All right, go find some shade, get some water.
Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn.
159.4 on lap 2. 159.4 for the 9, the Les Schwab tire.
Needs to find just over 4 miles per hour in this final lap out of 3 up at the top end of the course into Buffalo Brothers turn number 4. Another tight turn at the exit pit. In lane number 1, here comes the 9 Les Schwab Delta Real Track with Andrew Tate. Across the start-finish line now. He is the winner of the race number 1 Guntersville. And race number 2 in Madison, Indiana went to Jimmy Shane, who we just heard from. Into turn number 1, West Coast Auto Dealers. Back over to turn number 2 on the Pasco side. And our 4-corner super speedway is Tire Factory turn 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And he looked a lot smoother, a lot faster going through the turn that particular lap as he flies down the back stretch into turn number 3. Can the 9 find 4 miles an hour? We'll find out.
He didn't find it on that last one.
I didn't think so.
159.2.
Yep.
So I've got 3 laps already scored.
That's right, and I do as well.
And my understanding is you get 3, and the flag should be green, green, white checker. Check out the flags up there, see what he gets this time down. But
that means I have to get up, Brad.
Oh, you sorry about that. Tell Kevin to get some binoculars. But he clearly was still on it.
It's still green.
All right.
Extended session.
Wow.
Whoa.
And he's backing off the throttle. Tate in the 9, heading back down to our pit reporters, A1 Refrigeration and Heating pit reporters, Glenn Vaughan and Brad Luce. Let's go back over to Tire Factory turn number 2 and talk a little bit about our crowd and our setup over there, thanks to our friends at Frontier Rental.
Oh, it's the folks still coming in. The parking lot's actually kind of mostly full. There's still opportunities to come in, but yeah, gosh, it's there's plenty of folks in the water enjoying the coolness of the river and trying to stay cool.
Yeah, just a reminder of stay out of the river when boats are on the water.
Yeah, of course. Seeing the patrol boats out, making sure folks are following the rules. Seeing that the other nice thing too is, I walked down the length of the Pasco side and got an opportunity to look at all these beautiful homes who are right here along the river. And plenty of folks just kind of set their own tent in their yard, and they hang out and enjoy it and have a great time from the comfort of their own yard. So it's this is a gorgeous side of the river. So a lot of folks getting their tent set up, getting ready for the busy weekend ahead. I'm kind of down on the west end of town of the river, but this is plenty of folks are enjoying their time. And I'd imagine this afternoon when we get to some deck-to-deck racing, we'll see even more folks getting out on the Pasco side of the river for some great views. Plenty of, park all the way down to the river to just park a chair, park a tent, park a canopy, and get that opportunity to see the race real close to you.
And we can see Kevin in the lift provided by Frontier Freedom Rentals. They do a great job. Freedom Rentals, they're on North Oregon Avenue in Pasco. From your farm to your backyard, see Freedom Equipment Rentals on North Oregon Avenue in Pasco. So I wonder what Andrew Tate feels about that last run in the 9. I would imagine that Glenn Vaughan is probably headed down that way to find out exactly what he thinks.
Yeah, he's just now climbing out of the cockpit here after some hot laps just south of 159. I spoke to him earlier this morning. Glenn's finding his way over there. We're making Glenn work today. So he'll go up there and get Andrew when he steps off. Meanwhile, we've got Cal Phipps in the water, driving the old boy Alberto.
And did extremely well with a 154.876 earlier. Solid run out there.
This boat is really fast. And these guys, you heard Cal say a little earlier today when we were talking that they've got a lot of different combinations they want to throw at this thing and just see what works. And they are not in the National High Points race, so it's not the end of the world if they're not one of the top 1, 2, or 3 qualifiers here. But Cal Phipps has never won a boat race, and he's a character, and there is nothing he wants to do more than win one. And one of these days it's going to happen because he's a very accomplished shoe. And he always says if he ever wins one of these races, we're closing down the pit area and partying all night long. So he might be a fun guy to party with if we can get a victory here. But these guys are in the hunt and don't take their qualifying speed as going, they can't race with these big dogs. Yeah, they can. And this boat ran for so many years under our gang racing. Kip Brown drove it to a Gold Cup victory in 2013. Yep. This boat is fast.
Hey, a reminder, we'll see some vintage hydroplanes coming out later this afternoon, just after 4 o'clock, thanks to Solgen Power at ownyourpowersource.com. Glenn?
All right, thanks, Michael. We're talking with Andrew Tate. Andrew, how'd the water feel out there for you?
Not quite as good as the first run. A little bit rougher, a little bit more chop. I'm not sure what the cause of is that. Obviously, there's no wind, so it felt good. I wish it felt a little faster, but it's all right.
Now, watching Jimmy Shane put up some pretty good numbers, does that even play into your mind when you're going out there to put up your numbers?
Well, we qualified first the first 2 races, and we won one and he won one. So everything changes when you get boats next to you, and obviously you have a 5-minute gun that is all important out there. So that plays into it a lot, as well as race setup against qualifying setup. I'm sure he'll make changes tonight, and we'll make changes tonight to set up for the rougher water with 4 or 5 other boats out there with you.
All right, thanks a lot, Andrew.
And thank you, Glenn, A1 Refrigeration and Heating, pit reporter. And we should probably focus on the refrigeration part. I don't think anybody's thinking about heat at this time of the year. Special thanks our points recap sponsors, Perfection Miller Paint. They're extremely knowledgeable. They know their paint. That's all they do. With Miller Paint, made in the Northwest for over 125 years. Check out millerpaint.com or stop in just off Steptoe across from the McDonald's on Victoria. That's near Steptoe and Gage. It's Perfection Miller Paint. And when boats cut through the midfield, the infield portion of the race course, and we'll see this when we get to that 5 minute. We'll see it in the milling period in the Dash for Cash coming up later, and that's going to be awesome. That will be the wrap-up of our broadcast, except for the Hydro wrap-up show, thanks to IBEW Local 112. But the DMZ, that's what we labeled it, the infield. And our coverage of the boats cutting through there is thanks to ESCO Electric of the Tri-Cities, your local electrical specialist serving the region since 1972. Call 509-366-2491 for ESCO Electric. Anybody else in the water down in the pits, guys?
Well, you can just see if maybe this might be your answer.
There's 8 billion people in the world, and 8 billion ways to see it. To shape it, bend it, brighten it, light it, turn it, expand it, make it the way you want it. Because with Firefly, the world is what you make it.
Taxes was feeling unwelcome. Now Taxes is an open door to new TurboTax stores. Meet our experts. They do your taxes, so you can walk out with confidence. Now this is Taxes.
I tell you what, Glenn Vaughan, that reflective green on the Oberto is awesome when the sun hits it.
Yeah, just don't look directly in it or you're going to screw up your rods and cones.
Wow, that's pretty. Cal Phipps away from the dock, headed over to Kevin, and that boat is absolutely gorgeous.
You know, Brad, I'm glad it was a boat because I thought maybe you were styling your hair again.
Yeah, it could have been. I had the hairdryer going earlier.
All right.
Yeah.
Now you see the sun glint off of that boat, and it's a metallic paint job that's just incredible.
It is, and when he pulled away from the dock, Glenn and I are about 10 feet apart here, and the sun hit it there for, I don't know, 5 or 10 seconds, and it was really bright. It's really pretty.
Over on the Pascal side here, we get the red side of the fin, and it's just a beautiful reflection off of the red. Really gets a little, almost like you talk about a gleam in somebody's eye, a sparkle in somebody's eye. This has a sparkle right there on the cowling.
Heading up the back stretch, it's Cal Phipps. And Brad, maybe you could talk about the problem and the collision that they had in that boat. Maybe we lost Brad. This is the U1918 Oberto with Cal Phipps.
It's been a U27 for the first two races of the season, and they're doing the 1918 for this weekend, which we get a special treat this weekend, and then again next weekend in Seattle over at Seafair as they celebrate the 100th anniversary of Oberto, based out of Seattle, and so it'll go back to the 27 here in a few weeks.
And our tip of the hat to Art and the Oberto family. All right, Oberto's headed down the front stretch into West Coast Auto Dealers turn number 1. Phipps was out in lane number 4, but he's getting a little closer to the buoy line, heading into West Coast Auto Dealers turn number 1 in our four-corner super speedway into Tire Factory turn number 2.
Absolutely, and he's right on the buoy line as he exits turn 2. Going down the backstretch, lost a little speed there as everybody does, and continues on. Heading up the backstretch, looks real good though. He's looking like he's still searching for something maybe, but he does look pretty strong.
154.876, the top speed for Cal Phipps in the U1918 Oberto, heading into U Pullett Auto Parts turn number 3, Buffalo Brothers turn number 4. And it's funny because you won't see any of that gleam or glimmer from the metallic paint, and then all of a sudden, bam, it hits you when the sun hits it just right. Oh, he's got some air trapped under the boat coming across the start-finish line. A really nice run for Cal Phipps in the Oberto down the front stretch.
And this is, by the way, not qualifying. We're in the testing period, folks trying to get things out, so we'll see the Oberto out here. I'm guessing we'll also see the 3 in the Griggs Ace Hardware boat, and we might see the Carstar. Miss Carstar presents Miss Rock. We'll see maybe that boat can get out and get some time on the water with Aaron Salmon, and then Michael can make more fish in the river puns.
Now, and you brought up a good point, because this was supposed to be a qualifying session that went until 1:30, but they moved up the time. So is it, do we understand that from H1 that it has been cut off and this is testing only?
Yes.
All right, Rob chimed in. Thanks, Rob.
You're welcome. And so you won't have the 3-lap restriction now. There was an error on the flags when Andrew was out.
Okay.
And so he got to run the 4th lap. The time was not scored.
I got you.
So, and when you threw it down here and I wasn't listening, I was trying to get clarification on the name of this boat. You know, it used to be the Oh Boy Oberto.
No.
It was the Oberto Beef Jerky, and then it went back to Oh Boy Oberto for a couple of years when Larry and Art were sponsoring it themselves. This is the Oberto Beef Jerky, just to get some clarification. It's also very fast, as he's ripping up the backstretch there. I would throw it to Kevin, but all he can see is a wall of water running dead straight away from him up there.
Yeah, it's just rooster tail. That's all I get.
Coming up later tonight after our Dash for Cash, and we've got a pair of them with the GPs and the H1s. We'll have the Hydro wrap-up show, thanks to IBEW Local 112, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. They're looking for career-oriented licensed electricians to serve communities in Southeast Washington and Northeast Oregon. Find out more at IBEWLU112.com. All right, cross start finish line, and Cal Phipps noticeably backing off the throttle in the 1918 Oberto, heading down the front stretch.
And I might be interested, and maybe Brad or Glenn can find out, if these boats that are going out now just kind of bagged qualifying so they could switch over to their race setup, and that's what we're seeing is their race setup at this point, because the qualifying setup doesn't get you anywhere at this point. Qualifying's done, so I'd imagine what we're seeing right now is the Oberto in its race setup.
Well, certainly that's what you're going to see from this point moving forward. And you are, I mean, you're spot on with that, because your qualifying setup is much different than your race setup. And one thing that Michael can watch up there at start-finish line, and Kevin, you can see it too, when they're qualifying, they can use the entire river. And so they can enter a corner in turn 1. They can slide out to lane 6 when they get to the exit pin of the corner. They can use any part of the water and the race course that they want. But when they go racing, you're going to have to enter a turn and exit it in whatever lane you enter it. So if you enter in 3, you got to come out in 3, and you'll see the drivers square off the corners a whole lot more when they're running on a race setup. So typically they can't run as fast. So they're going to put different setups in the boat, because go how fast you can is off the table now. It's get ready to go racing tomorrow.
And the other thing we might start seeing too is these boats getting their timing runs down.
Yep. Let's talk about the race setup, and let's talk about the Dash for Cash. Do we have a lineup?
We do?
No. That was a question.
I have a good sound behind me.
Yeah.
That is the 99.9 CarStar Rock. It's firing up on the trailer here. They're going to try and give it a go, and it didn't go.
Okay, do we have a number for Aaron Salmon and the 99.9 CarStar Ms. Rock?
A number.
To reach qualification.
Minimum qualifying speed is 130.
Right, and how many does he need?
Oh, he's got them all.
Okay.
He is a qualified driver.
All right.
He got qualified in Madison. He only needed 6 more laps to go. So he got qualified in Madison. He just ran out. He tried to get the boat on the water one more time in Guntersville, and unfortunately they had lost the cowling earlier in the day, and every time he tried to get the boat up on a plane, all the water was coming over the deck and putting out the fire in the motor. So he had to go to Madison. He did go to Madison. He got qualified, and he actually got to compete in a heat of competition, picked up 225 points for a third-place finish. And I was going to go up and talk to him, and he's sitting in the cockpit of the boat right now, and he's got Scott Rainey of the U11 team leaning in there with him. Scott does a lot of work with this race team, and he helps them out at every turn and every corner. In fact, they were running one of the U11 motors when they were in Madison. So they're trying to fire it up now again.
Well, Cal Phipps, meanwhile, is just cutting it up. And you talked about timing runs, Tire Factory turn number 2, Kevin Rounce. I think that's what we're seeing right now.
It sure does. It looks like he gets you down through turn 1 and 2 just to get some practice there, then kind of takes off his foot off the gas, goes slowly back up the backstretch. And I think, now I don't know, Brad's been around the sport a long time, much longer than I have, but it's a lot different, though, I would think, trying to do these timing runs by yourself. They do tell you a little bit of information, but it's a whole lot different when you're jockeying for lanes and cutting across and trying to figure out exactly where you're going to be. So, but yeah, I think that's what we're seeing. Does seem to go up to the backstretch, not quite with the same pace, and trying to figure out exactly when he needs to be into the gas to hit that time at the start-finish line perfectly.
Yeah, you just want to have that mark on the course where you need to be at a minute, at 45 seconds, at 30 seconds, and at what speed you're traveling at that point, so you can hit full speed coming off exit pin turn 4 in our 4-corner super speedway, the Buffalo Brothers turn 4, and hit that start-finish line, bam, just like J. Michael Kelly did a year ago in the 12 Graham Trucking.
Here we go. We got...
As a business owner, I've got a lot on my plate. That's why I use ZipRecruiter to hire. ZipRecruiter has this feature called Zip Intro. I chose the time, and it did all of the work of finding and scheduling the candidates for me. I just picked my top choices and talked to great people the very next day. The plan was to hire 2 people, but the candidate quality...
That's the 99.9. They finally got her lit on the trailer here, so good news here. Aaron Salmon sitting in the cockpit. I don't even want to try and count how many people are up on the deck of that thing, but more than I can do on 2 hands and a couple of feet.
Well, that's one of the neat things I love about the Hydro. Not only are they reach out to the community, try to connect to the fans, but they really are, as much as they are competitors, they're also a family. And they want to make sure that everybody gets an opportunity to get out there, have a chance to race, and you want to beat them once they get on the race course, but you definitely want them at least to be on the